during the summer trying to get into my CNA program. He got me in. He got me in very fast. In a week, he was already talking to the advisors over there in the Jordan's campus. He was a very good person. He's amazing. He answers my emails and any questions I have. I'm just confused like other people, but he's a very great person. That's everything I need to say. Thank you.
Would you like to speak to the superintendent just for a moment?
Yes, Ms. Bennett. Thank you, members of the governing board. I'd like to thank you all for being here.
Would you like to speak to the superintendent just for a moment?
Yes, Ms. Bennett. Thank you, members of the governing board. I'd like to thank you all for being here this evening. We have heard what you have said, not only this evening, but throughout the last couple of weeks. I have been in contact with Mr. Bell, your principal. We are working on a resolution for this situation. I want to assure you that your scholarships are intact. I know that was a concern that many of the students have. We will continue to work with Mr. Bell to find a solution for this situation. He will keep you updated as we continue. Please know that your concerns have been heard, that we do care about you and Horizonte and all the other students that are there. We want to make sure that you have a great educational experience that is comparable to any student in the state of Utah. So I do want to thank you again for being here this evening, and I will have conversations with Mr. Bell tomorrow about this too. Thank you.
Dr. Cunningham, what about the concerns I've had that I've asked you about this? Like, I'm not getting a reasonable explanation. The initial explanation you gave on why this was done, it was a lie. And so my concern is the board has already approved this. The initial explanation you gave on why this was done, it was a lie. And so my concern is the board has already approved this.
We're not.
Excuse me, I'm talking. I'm talking.
But you haven't been recognized.
I'm asking, this is a board meeting. I'm on the board and I am asking a question to the superintendent.
And when you want to speak as a board member, you need to go through.
I'm not a dog. I'm talking. So what I'm asking you, superintendent, on August 2nd, the board approved the $48,000 for that contract. And how are you able then to override an official act of the board is my question.
Mr. Keller, I'd like to remind you this is not an agenda item. If you would like to be an agenda
I've asked for it to be on the agenda. I've asked you on email. So where does this get talked at then, Heather? And you're complicit in covering this up. So if I ask for it to be on the agenda, you won't put it on the agenda. If I ask her on an email, she lies about it, and then when I ask for an explanation, she doesn't clarify.
You're violating all of our rules.
You're violating it because the board made a decision to pay $48,000. What is there to fix on this? This is wrong.
Right.
You're being insubordinate by going against the board. Board made a decision to pay $48,000. What is there to fix on this? This is wrong.
Right.
You're being insubordinate by going against the board. You need to call a recess because you're making decisions that she's not following.
This is not on the agenda. We did not receive.
That's your fault.
You did. Board member.
She did. Us two did not.
I would recommend that we do take a 5-minute recess.
We're going to take a recess.
You shouldn't even have a meeting, Heather, because you guys. She's insubordinate and not following what we've agreed to, right?
Sorry to the
audience.
And
you're okay. Sorry to yourself, Heather, because you're complicit in this. Why are you apologizing to the audience when you're the one that's letting them do this?
Is that what we're doing?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a 5-minute recess. You are welcome to stay here, and we will resume in 5 minutes.
Oh, I can still talk then if we're in recess. So you guys, the problem is, and I appreciate you guys coming, to the board meeting, and thank you. And the questions that you guys brought up are valid because, as they pointed out, the board had approved the $48,000 for this contract on August 2nd. And so right now what happens is the superintendent is an employee of the board. She's insubordinate by law because the board, we have the ability
to make, you're cutting me off. You see, and she works for the board too. You really think that that's going to stop me? This is crazy. So this is how these people operate. That lady right there is an appointee of the board, and so I'm technically their boss, but that's how they operate. They'll just cut off the microphone. And like, that's going to stop me from talking. We're in recess, right? So I can talk. So you guys are going to have a secret meeting back there. This is, this is totally opposite, you guys, of how government doesn't operate. We should be doing our business publicly and openly. And like I said, then on August 2nd, we approved the payment of it. And then the superintendent, who's an employee of the board then, who's insubordinate, went and fired Kimball and doesn't have the authority to do that. So now we're at an impasse, and you saw what happened tonight.
And told her that we would like this on the agenda. She refused. She acted like she had never even heard of it.
And part of the problem with that, I understand that, but part of the problem with that is there needs to be time to kind of, for the employees to work through this. It's not that they're not hearing your concerns. It's time to work through the information.
All those in favor of reconvening this meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I'm asking a question.
I'm asking that we
Okay, when are we going to talk about
return to the agenda.
Return to the
Okay,
agenda.
no, you need to answer my question. I've asked you on the email.
To the agenda.
We're not doing it in a public meeting. You'll only do it in a second meeting.
No.
When are you going to answer my question?
Mr. Clary, you can make an agenda request as your policy
I did make
states.
agenda request.
It needs to be seconded.
Okay,
It was
but
not a
You're
second.
telling them that you're going to go talk to Josh Bell. I'm asking you, when are you going to talk to me and answer my questions about it?
You can come in tomorrow, Mr. Clary. I will make
What
it time
time?
for you. I can look at my calendar when we're done with this meeting.
Okay, well, email me and let me know, and I'll come in, because I've asked you that before and you don't answer it.
I think I did answer you last week.
When? Oh, when are we going to talk about
It's
it?
enough, Michael.
Yes.
We have an agenda on the.
Heather.
We are going, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to return to the agenda. We are going to return to the agenda. We have the
Well,
folks
you
in the
know I don't work
audience.
for you, right? I do not work for you.
Thank
right?
you, Mr. Clary.
So don't mix up the roles.
Thank you, Superintendent.
But you guys, you're not,
Appreciate it. Okay.
so when does the public get an answer on this then?
We are moving.
You know
forward with
perfectly
this.
well that we're in the middle of a human resources discussion, which we cannot and do not discuss in the public meeting.
This
We're
is not a
returning to the
personnel
agenda
contract.
right now.
You
Yes.
can yell at me all you want. I'm still asking the question, when does the public get an answer to this?
Mrs. Roberts,
Huh?
Mr. Olson, would you please begin to lower the screen so we can move to our next agenda item, which will be a school presentation.
Thank you.
So when, I'm still not getting, you guys are going to ignore me and answer my question. When does the public hear an answer to this?
When this becomes on the agenda, you can put it on an agenda item and I will work with Mr. Bell. I think I have.
You know, I've
your
asked,
question.
did do a request to put it on the agenda.
And it was not seconded as your policy states.
We're just trying
Right.
to just.
So-
Thanks for supporting our teachers. Great help for answering questions
All
tonight.
together network, we want to come up
Yes,
with.
I do.
Yes, we can. We can have an update as soon as we have a resolution.
Just be outside talking.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the highlights from the school improvement plans for Mountain View Elementary.
Yes, I'd like to invite Mr. Lim and Ms. Maloof. They are going to come forward and they are going to update you on the work that they are doing at Mount.
The Utah legislature has been asked to audit the Salt Lake City School District after complaints that school leaders have been making decisions in secret and bypassing the school board members.
Community members will ask the state auditor to do a second review to determine whether district leaders are in fact breaking the rules by making decisions in secret.
So welcome to this meeting.
The Salt Lake City School District is required by law to do its business in the public's view, but some complain that doesn't always happen.
It's basically all like secret.
Horizonte High School student Daniela Gasca says the school district let go of the single college advisor at her school without public discussion.
Like, they don't care about us. Like they see people like, minorities as like, hey, they don't need a college advisor. They're not even gonna go to college.
For the past 2 years, we've been very vocal about what's going on with the school district.
The NAACP and other members of the Utah community say they want an audit of the Salt Lake School District to know for sure if district leaders, including the board president, are making decisions in secret without letting the entire school board decide through a public vote. Some say there's a history of secret decisions about personnel and big purchases.
I think you're going to find in this audit is going to involve potentially millions of dollars of these sorts of appropriations that have not had the required vote of the board.
State Senator Luz Escamilla says after getting phone calls from concerned parents, she's asked for a legislative audit.
We're just trying to find answers, and I think the audit will give us an opportunity to find answers.
Representative Angela Romero supports the audit.
At the end of the day, it's children who suffer, and they're our future. And so I want to ensure that they're getting the quality education that they need.
In an email, school board president Heather Bennett said the school board and the district have acted with transparency, and she welcomes the audit to clear up questions.
El Distrito Escolar de Salt Lake podría pasar por 2 auditorías relacionadas con su desempeño y sus finanzas. Esto después de que miembros de la comunidad hubiesen compartido sus preocupaciones con líderes estatales. Lester Rojas amplía.
Michael Clara es un miembro de la mesa directiva escolar del distrito de Salt Lake. Él dice que miembros de la comunidad han expresado preocupación por el desempeño del distrito y demandan que el auditor del estado, John Dougall, examine la actividad del distrito. La auditoría es para saber si están haciendo todo legalmente, como realizar juntas públicas y no a puertas cerradas, además de compartir información necesaria a miembros de la mesa directiva. Un ejemplo de ello, según Michael, fue el despido injusto de la posición de consejero universitario de la Escuela Horizonte, cuyo presupuesto para este ciclo escolar ya se había aprobado anteriormente. Sin embargo, no se renovó el contrato del empleado. Estudiantes de Horizonte vinieron a la Junta de Comité para protestar, pero no querían ponerlo en la agenda o hablarlo. Y es a lo que nos referimos. No quieren exponerlo al público, y es así como mal usan el presupuesto.
Y que es la única escuela, la única high school que no tiene un college advisor, es un problema muy grave.
Aunque la Oficina de Auditorías del Estado dicen haber recibido una petición formal para dicha auditoría, legisladores del Estado han entregado una petición independiente al auditor de la legislatura.
Y afortunadamente el día de ayer el comité lo dio como una prioridad esta auditoría. Entonces,
según la senadora Escamilla, esto es algo que les incumbe, puesto que el distrito escolar recibe fondos estatales, por lo tanto también son responsables por el dinero de los contribuyentes.
Cómo se están gastando los dineros o los fondos para las escuelas. Estas preocupaciones se han venido a relucir los últimos años. No es nuevo, esto no salió de un solo incidente.
Oficiales del Estado dicen que esta auditoría no se trata de encontrar culpables, sino encontrar soluciones, ya que los más afectados son los estudiantes, cuyo progreso académico es puesto en espera.
En el distrito, estudiantes de color son la mayoría, y queremos asegurarnos que la equidad es parte del currículum, y queremos asegurarnos que las familias se sienten bienvenidas. La petición de la auditoría por la legislatura ha pasado a ser prioridad por el auditor. Además, la senadora Escamilla dice que eso tomará algunas semanas para que comience y quizás meses para que concluya, pero que espera recibir respuestas claras y, si es necesario, crear propuestas de ley para cambiar dichas prácticas. En la ciudad de Salt Lake, Lester Rojas, Noticias Univision 32.